It was only last year, perhaps around this time, that we were talking about Warner Brothers versus a bunch of actors, actresses, and their agents when they sued basically the massive studio for promising them that they would have theatrical releases, but then out of nowhere deciding that they're going to do some kind of hybrid release system where they're going to release their upcoming big blockbuster movies simultaneously on HBO Max and also with this theatrical release. Fast forward to present day, apparently Scarlett Johansson is having the same issues with Disney because she says that Disney promised her that her movie Black Widow is getting only an exclusive theatrical release. But here's the question. When was this promise made? Was this way back, perhaps in 2018, 2017, back when Black Widow was in the making? Or was it something recent?
Well, if we look back at when the movie was produced, that's, I think, when her contract was made. And it's set on stone. I don't think anything usually changes despite maybe a few, reforms of some kind. But it did promise that her movie would have a wide theatrical release, but it didn't. Of course, you guys know Black Widow was available to Disney Premier Access for $30. And Disney has even said that, they would compensate Scarlett Johansson by allowing her to earn additional compensations from the Premier Access. But apparently this wasn't enough because from what we understand, Johansson is set to lose $50 million because of the altered release plan.
So what's interesting that I see to add, according to Disney, they're saying that she's going to earn a bunch of money from the Premier Access release in addition to the $20 million she has received to date.
Okay, wow.
So this means that, again, this is very vague. It means that she could earn another 50, another 20, another 15, who knows? But is it enough for her? That is the question. But again, I feel like whether this lawsuit merits anything whatsoever depends on when it was signed and the small clauses here and there, because we know that Disney and Nintendo, they have the strongest lawyers out there, the most notorious lawyers. We often talk about them, but we also think that Scarlett Johansson is not going to get some random lawyer from the street, someone who she's probably going to get somebody who's very strong and knows what they're talking about. But honestly, what I'm thinking of is the future where she probably just severed her ties with Disney, which owns a lot of studios, and that includes, for example, Lucasfilm, and you can just go on and on and on with the things that Disney owns. And does that mean that we might never ever see Scarlett Johansson within the MCU or any Disney property ever again?
It could be the case. She's with this lawsuit, she's really burning her bridges down. Talk about ending on a high note. The way I see it, I'm trying to be very objective about it. If she was promised, entitled on that contract to have a wide theatrical release, and they did not comply or they did not fulfill that promise, then she has every right to have this lawsuit. I think what's going to happen is maybe there's some sort of settlement of some kind that's going to happen under the table.
Perhaps.
Just to control the publicity of it all. But yeah, she definitely left a bad taste in Marvel's mouth this time.
Yes, and according to some rumors, Emma Stone might be following suit with her own lawsuit against Disney.
Ooh.
Because according to her, the same thing happened with Cruella, where she was promised a wide theatrical release but instead got a hybrid release instead, and it's the same question sticks.
Because if she does file a lawsuit, Disney might just cancel the sequel.
That also could happen. But again, this is just a rumor. Scarlett Johansson's lawsuit is ongoing. It is real, but Emma Stone is only, according to some various sources, just considering it. But again, I understand, but also at the same time, I understand both points of views. You understand the guilds and the unions and the actors, actresses, their agents talking up and speaking up and saying, hey, you owe us money. But also understand that if the studios do not go for this hybrid release, it's barely gonna make any profit during this pandemic, even though some theaters have opened up, such as in the UAE and some places in the Gulf. it is still not, they're not getting those big money that they used to get a long time ago, especially considering like movies such as Black Widow. I mean, if you look at the UAE, for example, if you look at the movie timings, they had to cancel, they stop all the early shows, and that is cutting out money. So think about the various losses across the industry, and I understand the actors and actresses, but I'm kind of siding with
Disney.
With Disney a little bit, even though I understand that people are like against the big mouths. Let's go against the big mouths. But
it does remind me.
It's very hard. It's very like a gray area.
You're right. It reminds me of that scene from Breaking Bad where Walter White is standing at a pile of cash, over $80 million, and his wife tells him, "When is it gonna be enough?" And boy, you already know how that ended. But this is a court lawsuit that we're gonna keep you guys posted as we get more developments from it. But in good news, we have a Bleach 20th anniversary. We know the anime is coming out sometime very soon. But surprisingly enough, they also announced a standalone special manga, one that comes right after the end of the series. So stay tuned for that.
If you liked this episode of Afternoon Karak, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.